returning to Mason Station as second in command. It was while I was enjoying my second in command position at the Mason District that my opportunity to rescue the chief came about. By now, I believe, my mentor JJ had been promoted to major and was in charge of the patrol bureau. See what I missed out during my 6 years as a communications consultant? I believe he rose from lieutenant to major in the 6 years I was working on CAD. I know that before the CAD team relocated from headquarters to our future home on Woodburn Road, JJ had been the captain in charge of the 911 center in the basement of the Massey building, and as a first lieutenant had been in charge of the Novaris automated fingerprint system just prior to that. This is when our friendship really took off, and we often had lunches together, at times donning our black departmental-issued raincoats and driving to Bethesda, Maryland to buy lottery tickets when the Maryland lottery was new. When, now years later, he was discussing assignments with the chief and where newly promoted First Lieutenant Brown should be assigned, JJ later told me, he said, "Send him back down to Mason Station to keep an eye on that commander," name is intentionally left out here, "and for God's sake, to make sure he comes out of his office long enough to attend roll call with the troops." And those were my marching orders. I always got along with that, my first white shirt commander, but I was always dragging him to roll calls to talk to the troops. He would have much preferred to sit in his office, reading the newspaper, playing aviation video games on his computer, or hobnobbing with the staff of the Mason District Supervisor, later U.S. Congressman Tom Davis. It turned out that I was the go-to guy for everyone in the station because of their dislike for and lack of trust in that particular captain. See, JJ's advice for the promotional process was right. Think of the next rank up, since your superior is usually incapacitated in the scenarios and in real life. This is when the opportunity arose for me to save the chief from his embarrassing situation with the board candidates. The captain must have been on leave because I distinctly remember having a cruiser with a telephone. Lieutenants didn't rate telephones, only commanders. So I must have been using his car. There was a huge community meeting at the Camelot Citizens Association at Camelot Elementary School. The big event of the evening was to honor Paul Seavey, one of the early founders of Neighborhood Watch in the county, for his years of service to the community. County Board Chair Audrey Moore had called the chief's office and asked that a plaque be prepared for her to present to Seavey. If I recall, I was either on stage or somehow recognized as the highest-ranking police official present. I believe I had handed the plaque to Audrey, who in turn was presenting it to Mr. Seavey, when Tom Davis, running against Audrey for the chairman's seat, came flying into the auditorium, which was the cafeteria, late as usual, and up onto the stage to share the moment and photo op. After the other portions of the ceremony concluded and everyone had their ice cream and socialized, Davis confronted me, yelling, red-faced in anger, that the police department had obviously taken sides in the election, catering to incumbent Chairman Moore and seeing to it that she had a plaque to present to the honored Neighborhood Watch Coordinator while he was left empty-handed. I assured Mr. Davis that no slight was intended. The request had in fact come from the chair of the board. Had he made a similar request, I'm sure the police department would have had a plaque crafted for him to present. It was to no avail. He was livid and stormed out of the building. I immediately went to the cruiser and proceeded to call the chief. It was probably 9:45 or 10 p.m. at the latest. Calling the police chief at home was not a task to be taken lightly. However, my commander was on leave, therefore I was the commander, and I'm not even sure I contacted the patrol commander, JJ, to seek his approval or advice. I just called. The Granfields had just returned home from some event when I called. I explained the situation to the chief with all the details, and he thanked me, saying, "Hey, thanks for the heads up. Don't worry about it. What are you going to do when the chairman asks you to prepare a plaque? Would you have done the same for Davis had he asked?" Gee, sounds familiar. He probably called Audrey Moore the next morning, so she'd be in the loop together with former police chief, now Deputy County Executive for Public Safety, Dick King, who I'm sure all appreciated the heads up.